Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. All right, then. So we'll be serving you more helpings as the program unfolds. But right now, we're doing the trail to 600 days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And joining me to shed light on water transportation and some of the innovative steps taken by Mr. Governor is Oluwadamilola Emmanuel, who is General Manager for the Lagos State Waterways Authority. Damilola, nice to have you back in the studios. Good morning.
Yes, nice to have me back.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Mr. Victor. Happy New Year.
This is the first time we're having this conversation this year.
Absolutely.
So it's nice to have you back in the studio. So we're looking at 600 days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Water transportation has been on his lips even from the time he was campaigning. And now it's already 600 days into the journey of governance. Talk to me. What does the journey look like for water transportation for this administration?
Well, the journey has been very interesting, and we've been able to, I would say, ramp up on water transportation. And when I say ramp up, in terms of safety, and also see how we can even get more numbers onto the waterways. I think two critical things have been safety and passengers,
right.
both the ones who use it and the ones who want to use it, wanted to see better boats. And with the introduction of Lag Ferry, Lagos Ferry Services, that has happened. And Lagos Ferry Services have not come to say that government wants to take over entirely. Lagos Ferry Services has just come in to say these are the kinds of standards we want going forward on our waterways.
Right.
And I'm sure Lagos Ferry Services has been here and has told Lagosians on what they've been doing, and they've been seeing their impact as well across the various routes which they've been plying.
Which is good. All right, so two landmark things which you just mentioned right now, safety and ramping up the patronage in terms of passenger operations. But let's reflect on those two now, basically.
Absolutely.
So in terms of the figures, how many people make use of the waterways?
Well, on a daily basis, we saw the numbers. Usually, initially it started with about 70,000 every day. We'll say every day, but with last year, we saw it gradually increase, and it varied between 80,000 to 100,000. We saw it varying because obviously at different points in time, people were either not using it or using it, and because a lot more people are working from home now, then the numbers drop on some days, some other days, depending on what was currently going on, because you know how the COVID-19 affected last year, and we saw the various times when people had to stay at home or either go out. So that's why the numbers were varied. But we saw a slight increase, and we know that there's still much more that will be done in this year.
Right. So in terms of infrastructure for water transportation, what has the governor really done in this area in these 600 days?
Well, you know, he procured boats for Lagos Ferry Services. But aside from that, let's move away from the boats. We also had jetties, which are currently under renovation as we speak right now.
Okay.
There are 7 major jetties which are currently undergoing renovation right now, and that renovation is to ensure that they meet with the current demands of today, because a lot of them, when they were built, they were just catering for the local communities.
And which jetties are these ones?
Well, we have the one in Liverpool.
Okay.
We have the one in Ebutero. We have the one in Ijede.
Right.
We have the one in Bayeku.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the Bayeko one is actually functional. Bayeko one has been commissioned. The Bayeko has been commissioned. We have the one in
anyone in
Mile 2. We have one in Mile 2.
Okay.
And we have in Ejegwengba as well.
All right. So these are the ones that are undergoing renovation right now.
Absolutely.
To the extent that what kind of facilities are we going to be having in these jetties for it to become fully functional? Well,
what we are going to have is obviously, first of all, it's very important that when passengers get to a location, they have where they are waiting. They have an appropriate waiting area, right? That is one. Then secondly, for the boats coming in, most of the existing jetties which were there were the ones whereby you have to wait for one boat to probably berth at a time. But now you're going to have multiple boats being able to berth at a time, because we didn't have that before. And that, you know what that does? That helps you increase the number of passengers that can get down and that can also embark onto the boat. And that also saves time as well.
Right. Okay, which is good. All right, so for those who are not very much aware of this, and I wanted to also break this down for our listeners, we do talk about some terminologies that we use on the waterway. So you have jetties, and then you have terminals.
You have terminals.
All right, so break it down for my listeners this morning. What's the difference?
Okay, a jetty just simply means that's the basic what I'll say, the infrastructure which is on the waterway, which the boats, move on to.
Okay.
So that is where the passengers embark and disembark. But when you say a terminal, what the terminal actually means, that it has a building attached to that jetty.
Okay.
So the terminal is a jetty, but also with a building.
Right.
That's what the terminal is, and that building is then what we describe as a main waiting area where you now have shops, you have things for people to stop by. They have toilets and everything like that. That's
Right.
That's what we call them, terminals.
And how many terminals do we have in the States as we speak?
6 terminals.
Six major terminals.
6 major terminals. Yes.
That's interesting. All right, so now we've talked about the fact that Lagos is blessed with lots of water resources, and the current government is thinking of how best to ensure that we make this into proper usage by putting people on the waterways. From what you see, Damilola, consciousness levels of Lagosians in making use of the waterways, what has it been? How has it been in the past 600
Well,
days?
you see, this is the main work, and it has to be a real cultural mind shift, because there's this natural phobia for water, even though we're surrounded by water. But what have we been doing in that? One of the things people want to do is they want to know, is it safe? And that's why we've been focused a lot more. And this year, we're going to focus a lot more on making it safe. Once people can be assured that it's safe, we know that they would. And not just about the infrastructure alone, also messages, awareness messages, life jacket campaigns. Because the life jacket is one single component of the waterways ecosystem that is so key for people to be aware of its use. Once you have a proper life jacket on, in the case of any emergency, you will be well secured until rescue gets to you. And the interesting thing about the waterways is that compared to the road, the accidents are less prone to happen
on the waterways.
If you think about how many accidents happen on the roads, it's a lot more. But because you don't really hear about. It's just because when one happens on the waterways, it seems like a very big thing. But compared to the road, if you think about it, it's more safer.
So you're having it much safer now. Absolutely. All right. Before now, you did talk about channelization of the waterways. How far have we gone with that project?
Yes, channelization has been ongoing, and this administration also has just approved again 2 routes to be fully channelized. We're going to have the Ilaje Bariga fully open, because currently one of the major issues with the Ilaje Bariga was that the channel was not wide enough for the boat operators, but it's currently being channelized right now. And we've seen a lot of movement from Marina Ojo to Badagry, because a lot of the people who live in Badagry are now using the waterway. So that Ojo to Badagry route as well is currently being channelized as we speak.
Okay, which is good. Now, channelization means that what now?
Basically, what channelization means is that you dredge the routes. Basically, what usually happens is that the way the waterways is, you need to make it more navigable. You need to ensure that the depth is deep enough for the boats to go on, because a lot of the times when it's shallow, then it's not easy for the boats to ride on. So you have to make sure the water is deep enough to be able to take the boats to be able to navigate on it.
All right, then. Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. If you're wondering who's speaking to me so eloquently on the program this morning, reflecting on water transportation and the milestone of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu in 600 days for water transportation, Damilola Emmanuel is General Manager for LASWA, which is the Lagos State Waterways Authority. I'll allow you to connect with him very, very shortly. But Damilola, quickly, before we connect with some of our listeners, last year, you started the Waterways Cleanup Initiative, which was launched last year, right?
Yes.
How far has that project gone?
Well, it's gone very well. And one of the things we've been able to do on the waterways is collaboration, because as you know, we need collaboration. One Loma Marine unit was actually launched, and they've been very, very effective. I must give kudos to Loma for trying. They've been very, very effective in partnering with us. So we provide the infrastructure in terms of where can their boats take off from. Then they send out their men to be able to clear. Even though they've started with the 5 cowries, the island, they also go to Ikorodu sometimes. But this year they also want to expand to go to other locations. But one of the things we're doing is that, look, where is the source? Where is it coming from? A lot of the waste is coming from land. So the critical thing for us is to do a lot more awareness as well, that people should stop littering on the roads, because every time you litter on the roads, it finds its ways down the canals, it finds its way through the drainages, and it ends up in the waterways. And we don't want that to keep happening. So we need the Lagosians to please stop littering the roads, stop dropping all those plastic bottles, sachets, food packs on the roads, because they find their way to the waterways, and it's killing marine life. It's affecting the aesthetics of the water. We don't want it to happen anymore. So it's a collaborative thing with the Ministry of Environment, Government and also Loma.
All right, then. Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, 08099120777. You want to also add your voice to the conversation this morning, feel free to do so, because time not really our friend on the program this morning, even as we reflect on this. So if you have anything or perhaps areas of concern for Damilola Emmanuel, who's the General Manager for LASWA, feel free to connect with us right now on the program. Okay, then, that's 08099120777 is the numbers that you can link up with us, or perhaps you want to also put that on our WhatsApp. All right, put a question, definitely we'll connect with you. Also on our social media platform, you can feel free to connect with us on Twitter handle at Lagos Traffic 961, and on our Facebook you can put your questions there as well. We will definitely attend to it too. All right, let me hear from you. Hello there.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Yomi Ogunawo. Calling from Lagos.
All right, Yomi.
I want to ask. I'm fine, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Damilola, for coming on to this waterways program.
Yes, sir.
I think it's a good development recently that we're improving on our waterway transportation system, which will obviously help the traffic on the road, and as well as an alternative to other means of transportation like rail.
Yes, sir.
But what I want to ask is that is there any program in place by Lagos State to extend this to other areas that have not been able to do in the past? Most especially, I want to make a reference to the area that I know better. There is in Imota, there's a port called the Ebute Ajebo in the olden days. And the investigation which I was involved in shows that the lagoon to that Ebute Ajebo is just about 3 kilometers away. I know some representation has been made to Lagos State, the ministry concerned, to see how that could be channeled, especially with the coming up of Lagos State rice mill in that traffic in the motor. I think it will be another way to ensure that the traffic in that is limited. If the waterways they are able to channel the waterway through that Ebute Ajebo.
Okay, then.
For those who are committing from that axis, I think I want to employ the general manager to see how they can look into that.
Okay,
I know there's some representation in place already, and if you can look into that, it will be a better transportation system for those in the houses.
All right, then. Thank you so much. He'll respond to you. You know that area he's talking about?
Yes, I have an idea of it, but it's always good to come on here. That's why we come on here. We always allow people call in as well. It's something we'll look into, because obviously one of the things we're also doing is making projections. Where are the areas in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years to 10 years that will say that there's going to be a lot of traffic, and how do we ensure that we don't have another Apapa? So, for example, along the Bejuleki now, there's already considerations to see how we can move a lot of the goods and things that are going there through the waterways. The plan, we're incorporating the waterways into that plan to ensure that we don't have another papa on our hands. So it's good that you've mentioned this as well. So it's something that we'll take on board and we'll look into. Thank you so much.
All right, then. 08099120777. That's the numbers you can connect with us on the program this morning. Hello there.
Hello, good morning. My name is Shola Okpol. I live in Ikorodu.
Nice to hear from you, Shola.
Yeah. Please, back to what Mr. Damilola said. There is this impression that the vehicle terminal is working. It's not working. It's my regular route to Aja. That terminal is not working. The one we are using is for the private sector. That is not well organized. And aside from that, I learned that terminal has been commissioned truly. But unfortunately, if you go there now, you'll find out that some of the building is already dilapidated. It's been there since, I think, around that March last year. And nobody is paying any attention to it. Okay. So please, we really want the Lagos State government to do something about that terminal to make it functional, one. Then two, to also deploy boats there so that we can make use of it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Any plans for...
Yes, so basically, let me just explain what has happened there. Thank you so much, man, for making that observation. It's been commissioned, and, there has to go through a concession process, which we've just concluded. And very soon, man, I assure you, within the first quarter, you'll see a lot of activity within that route. I assure you.
Before the end of March?
Yes, before the end of April. Before the end of April, you'll see a lot of activity there.
Okay.
Mr. Victor knows I will not say this if I wasn't sure.
So that's why you're here.
Thank you so much, my buddy.
Okay, then. Thank you, Shola, for bringing that to our attention. 08099120777. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
All right, what's your name?
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you. What's your name?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
We can hear you. Go ahead. Okay, it's a bad connection. We'll try and see how we clean that up. 08099120777. It's water transportation on the menu this morning. Hello there. Good morning. Hello. Hello. Okay, another bad connection as well. It appears we're having a luck charm with the network this morning. And I can see some of you are really, really interested and really want to have your say as it relates to your movement on the waterways. I have Oluwadamilola Emmanuel here with me. Hello there.
Good morning, Mr. Victor.
Good morning. Eboda.
Good morning, sir.
Talk to me.
Just to update you, around Oluwadamilola way, that all is still well.
Okay.
So we have more vehicles flying the road now, but you see a good movement.
All right.
Then coming towards Adibola, presently I'm very much at Adibola, see a good movement towards
All right.
Pavilion Bridge, in and out.
Okay.
Then Salvation, in and out towards Adibola, see a good movement. But coming from Toyin towards Adibola, a little bit busy because of the construction, drainage construction. It's only one lane that's there.
Okay.
So towards Adibola from Toyin and about.
All right.
Then Nala intersection, coming from Ikeja Bridge, just a little slow down by the intersection. Then after that, moving towards Radio, a little bit busy towards Radio.
Right.
Sun Journey also a little bit busy, but no cause for alarm. Our men are much on ground, doing the needful at that area.
All right.
Then coming from Arumire also, busy towards intersection. We don't have any impediment for now.
Good.
So that's just the update.
All right then. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Eboda.
You are welcome.
Great. All right. Ikeja corridor still looking good for now. Damilola, you wanted to...
Yes, I also wanted to talk about something that was very, very important. I'm sure you know that the workforce for the waterways is very, very key. And His Excellency, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, actually confirmed the appointment of our water guards who approved prior to now were temporary, and even approved for us to employ much more water guards, 60 water guards, because we needed to ensure that we can expand our scope and also our mode of operation as well. And they are going to be undergoing training this year, sensitization, even in line with current economic and social climate as well, to ensure that we can be more responsive on the waterways.
All right, let me see if I can squeeze in a few calls before we wrap up things on the program this morning. 08099120777. We're talking water transportation this morning and the prospects for it in the year 2021. Also reflecting on what has been done in 600 days of Mr. Governor. That's Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration. Now, you did talk about what you've been doing to clear the waterways and ensure that it becomes navigable. Hello there. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
All right, what's your name?
My name is Shegun, calling from Sorodu.
All right, Shegun, talk to me.
Yes, I want to appreciate the work of Mr. General Manager LASWA for the good work you are doing for us behind this waterway. I've been using the waterway very differently, but what I notice is that there is a jetty at the station that is kind of close to us, but the jetty has been there for years. It's yet to be completed, and it's closer to some of us at Bayesi because we know that there is a jetty in Bayesi that's not properly. But this one is closer to, and it's traffic free compared to the one we have at this Ebute because of that road that is currently under construction now. So I don't know what they were doing. How soon the
will be completed.
Yes, and then it will be used for us around that axis because you find out that there was a local jetty there that we were using before.
Yes,
but since
yes.
they demolish that, and then this one is under construction, we've been waiting, expecting years by years. We've not changed a better change. And
Okay.
don't know when
All right, just listen. He will tell you. He'll give you the latest on it. Thank you so much, Shegun.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shegun. So that Ibeshe is actually about 85% complete. Yes, there were a few issues on it. And the reason why it was stopped was because they wanted to get the adjoining land to be able to ensure we can have an effective park and ride. And that's what we're currently working towards. So I'm not going to say within this first quarter, but I know that within this year, it's one of the jetties we want to ensure that we can fully ramp up and get functional within this year.
All right. Let's talk about safety. Okay, but let's take this call. Hello there. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Quickly.
Yeah, my name is K. Adiyege.
Your name is?
K. Adiyege.
Okay. All right, K. Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to find out why most of these terminals are not being used to offer batch services. For example, if I'm in a Kurodu and I want to get to the Lekki or the Ajah, why don't we have the introduction of badges where I can cross over with my car? That's what I want to find out from the GM.
Okay.
If that is in the plan also.
Okay. All right. That's good. Thank you, K. All right. So
Yeah, thank you so much, Kay. I mean, it's a vital thing. It's a critical thing you mentioned, and one of the things you have to think about in terms of that is space. And when these jetties and terminals were being planned back then, the enough space was not allocated for. But I want to let him know that in the plan, like I said to you, looking at 5-10 years, we're ensuring that any new terminals we build, we will be able to factor in the fact that you can use a barge to move either cars and even cargo as well. So it's something that it's being planned, but because the initial ones didn't have enough space, we couldn't do that with the car barges. But we will do that as we go forward with
that's planning into the future.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about safety on the waterways now. Wrecks.
Yes, removal of wrecks.
Yes.
Last year as well, we were able to move 3 major wrecks, and this year, as I speak to you, we've also done another. We're currently doing another assessment, and this time now is all of the major wrecks on the waterways, an assessment of them,
right,
so that we then identify the critical ones and are able to remove them within this year to the next 2 years as well.
And this is done in collaboration with some other agencies, right?
I mean, it's done basically. It's mainly done by LASWA, but obviously, yes, mainly done by LASWA, State Waterways Authority.
Okay, then. So, taking this to the last bend for the program this morning, some of the major things that you guys be doing in 2021. I know you've talked about some of them, but for much more in terms of emphasis?
Absolutely. This year we'll be setting up, we had it before, but also to ramp up our emergency and rescue services. This year as well, we'll be looking to also employ, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, more water guards to cover more locations on the waterways. We'll also be looking to have a sort of like a control room, a database room as well, where we can begin to see all the movements of all the boats which are moving on the waterways, and also to get more operators even onto the waterways as well, and obviously to have those jetties which are being rehabilitated fully functional.
Right. We'll still have you back on this frequency very, very soon.
Absolutely.
So we can talk much more about some of these projects that are coming on stream in the year 2021. Damilola, Emmanuel, nice having you in the building.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, then. So we'll be able to reflect on 600 days of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, especially as it relates to water transportation. And of course, you heard from Damilola some of the innovative steps taken by LASWA to ensure that we have much more in terms of patronage of the waterways. So take advantage of some of the existing boats that we have right now. Most of you within the corridor, very soon you enjoy much more from all the terminals and the jetties you have within that location. You can make better use of the waterways. But we have to go. Thank you so much for Lashadi Adiromu for producing the program this morning. Kaidema Folasheri of the social media team, thank you. And not forgetting Philip Akinwara and Mubosala Kasali. Our executive producer remains Tayo Akonle. Tomorrow the program will make a return. Another big edition. But till then, this is Victor Terry. I'm wishing you the best, but stay safe and drive on the right side of the road. Bye.
We going up higher.